Yeah, and so you know, I was obviously like from the from the team of EthereansOS since the beginning, and it's kind of like, I mean, it's not easy to understand like uh what's the general questions and the thing that are maybe more difficult to understand from from people that are external from the team. And so I got this idea to just invite uh, some like new team members who were into into the community on Discord, and yeah, just get some question and reply, and maybe can be like very very helpful. So let's start with Davey.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Davie. I've been interested in the project for a while, and I just joined the team recently, and so I've been helping to rewrite some of the documentation. And um, through doing that, I've learned like a lot about the protocol, and it really helps to like understand the code. So luckily, I've had some of the coders explaining to me exactly all of the things I had questions on. And so soon you'll be able to see the results of that, and hopefully be able to dive deeper into the code yourself and learn a lot more. So yeah, I guess I'll talk to Ale now here about factories. And so it's my understanding that a factory is something that defines a model contract that can be cloned. And so the model contract has some hard-coded functions and hard-coded logic, and then a user can clone that contract, but they can initialize it with their own parameters. So, for example, Uniswap uses their own factory to deploy new token pools, and the logic for the pool functions is hard-coded, and then a user can like clone a generic pool and initialize it with like what tokens they want to be in that pool and the starting price and all that. So EthereansOS provides the factory of factories, which is a factory deployer and aggregator. So a user can deploy their own factory using this, and then the factory of factories keeps track of every factory ever deployed, and it mediates like an optional fee that can be customized for a user to get revenue from one of their successful factories. So my question for Ale is, what kind of model contracts do you see there being a market for in the next years?
Hmm. Uh, hmm. I think I think I mean I think there are a lot of them who are like needed from some different like use cases. Um, I mean, so you mean about how the contract is made in general, or like what is the use case of the factory contracts that I
Yeah, so like Uniswap pools are a good example
okay
of a good a model contract that gets cloned a
okay
lot and used a lot. So, but we can make uh, generic or factories for any kind of model contract. So, I guess there could be a model contract that just deploys, generic ERC20 tokens or anything else. So I was just wondering because, the aggregator will have a marketplace for all these different factories for people to use. So like what kind of factories, what kind of model contracts do you think um, will be really useful? Uh,
yeah okay I think actually that hmm um for sure like like obviously everything which is related to DeFi. So I think, for example, from our like general tool that we have like in covenants and this kind of thing. It's just like the basic thing, you know. So swap, transfer, auto liquidity, farming, so liquidity strategy. But there are a lot of things to actually use, you know, like uh helping like people to just like I don't know, use Maker or something like this to try different strategy to get like borrowing or lending or get yield in different general ways. I think obviously like you know at the end of the day like I think uh like most of the project or DAOs in general like 95 or also like 99% of the use cases they are like financial use cases.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously, as most of the like non-trader person, we always want to see like a lot, some use cases which has not like directly correlated with doing stuff with money. I mean, it's something that everyone wants. So I think people will do like I think for sure as like because with Factory you can have like your kind of like different like um business models. And so I think obviously like the DeFi factories will be like something that like people will build like as soon as possible because they can easily like put business model on top of this, you know, like you transfer money, you do things with money. So um but I think there is like a lot of exploration to do. Like imagine someone who like solve things like, oh, for example, the interfaces of the app. So what we should do, like we should like just having an NS and vote for this NS. And so something like imagine like a special manager for ENS, okay? Um, which maybe have some different kind of validation, different kind like a humor combination and try to like uh, not just vote for it, but you know, some kind of uh, because yeah, so solving something about Ethereum coding and also I mean
So you mean like the model contract for an ENS manager contract would have some
mhm.
functions that make changes to the text record or things like that, and then could be governed by like an organization or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, and also I think I mean we can go into like a more futuristic way, like try to use factories also like to create like I don't know how can I say like not just economics but like narrative to play like I don't want to say games, but you know, like, but not just the idea to like, oh, we can create a game and like every organization is like a cities or something like this. But mm, I think, from my personal perspective, but this is like the coolest part. But I think like is more like long term that like just short term as DeFi is. I mean, I think I'm one of the guy who think that one of the futuristic vision of item on Ethereum is like, oh, we should have like objects who are like interoperable between different communities and different games. I mean, we can also like surpass the idea to have like one governance token for every app, or maybe like to having like one governance token for different app, you know. And so the idea to having like some sort of interoperable like on-chain GDR part of the game that are ruled by like factories. So I mean, in terms of mm, with like this like item, you have like these skills that can change for every single items, and so you have
Mhm.
like this um like how can I call it, like genetic or something like this about, oh, how powerful is this thing and so on. And with factories, you can like share these things between different games. So and so you are secure that like for example, this war have the same attack in other games. So there are also like different things that also like security of like contracts or DeFi integration that can be very, very useful in the future. Obviously, I mean, on-chain gaming is like, I don't want to say in the beginning, is like earlier than the beginning because there is actually nothing which is actually on-chain gaming. So and so it's a very futuristic view. But I think something that will be cool is that is like when we will make like factories accessible to anyone to build like very, very easy. I I hope like to be surprised in some way. Like imagine you have the situation will be that you have the iPhone, and at some point like, oh, you have the App Store there, and so I hope that people will figure it out like a lot of like tool that would be helpful and but for sure like in the short term like financial factories will be like the most used and the most built things because
Yeah,
it's
it kind of
very, very
reminds me
easy
of
to marketize.
like Loot or whatever. Remember Loot? And it was just like there was just some like text, and then people would build on top of it and integrate it into other things or whatever. So like, I guess there would be like I'm imagining a factory that makes characters or a factory that makes like swords or something. So then you have this factory and people can like, clone the contract for a sword and it has its like special attributes and things like that. And then
Hmm.
uh and then different apps can like interpret that sword differently and use it for their own game or whatever. And the game could be obviously, an organization developed by an organization, and the organization can have their own factory for their swords for their game, but it can also be, just like a generic sword contract or whatever. That sounds really
Yeah,
fun.
and also like in this specific case, I'm one of the few guys who think that your avatar, I mean, in games, it's should be like your ENS, and then you attach item to this, and not like your like NFT avatar and stuff like this. I think I don't know. We will see.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
There is also like Jeep, which is coming. So hey, Jeep.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, loud and clear.
I cannot hear anything. One second.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hear. I'll be back 1 second.
And so, yeah, so I hope I have like answered your question, Davey. I mean, it's I think most of them will just be DeFi for like the next 1 or 2 years, and
DeFi gaming. Yeah. Anything you
yeah,
can create a model contract for. Yeah. I mean, hmm. Anything you want to clone and use it everywhere and be secure. Because
yeah.
you
I
can
mean,
just
it's
you just audit you can have like the model contract audited once, and then if people build on top of that, they don't have to worry about it being
Yeah.
uh, unsafe or whatever because they cloned it from the factory. Just like nobody's auditing each contract, each Uniswap pool. Like they know it's the same pool.
yeah. I think obviously like there in DeFi you have like more need for something like this because also like about security. I mean, you have more needed like when you talk about money in general. So like for sure in the short term. So this will be like the killer feature of the things. So I think yeah, for the first like 2 years, it will be very, very like I hope there will be like everything possible in finance actually. So every kind of interaction because it would be like very, very great to have into the ecosystem. So
Yeah, it'll be an emergent, something emergent.
so let's try. Hey, how's it going with the headphones? No, not going. Uh, and so yeah, and but by the way, what's yours? What do you think about this?
About factories?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think they're. I see the gaming. Like, I think that the gaming thing is like a pretty good, a good way to think about it because like not everything do you want to clone a bunch of times. Like you don't necessarily want to like clone the core contracts in a project, but then there's things that you want to like that you do want to clone. Like if people, if you're minting something that gives you access to the project and the thing that you mint, you want to be, uh, you want it to be cloned from a factory. And so for gaming, I imagine like it's easy to think about. At least there's an organization and maybe they like deploy their own factory, and then they deploy, from the factory you can clone like your character avatar and your like swords and your weapons and things like that from the different factories. And then but I mean, like, using that as an analogy, you could come up with, I mean, anything you can almost like describe as a game, like even financial applications and things like that. Like you can kind of like frame them in a way that they seem like a game. So
Yeah,
if you
and also, I mean, maybe it's like a more like it's not like the main thing, but something which I think it will very very like be important with this Davey is by interfaces and also by contract to contract how you get information. So something I really think that with I think with our job maybe, but also with the other team's job is try to remove like list of things needed. So all of the addresses are coded and this kind of stuff in all of the interfaces because it's kind of like put like providers like in a bad position because at the end of the day, you can have like, I don't know, this country or there's another country will say, oh, you are listing these, they are securities, and so you should like shut it down. And if you just have the whole infrastructure that call like a factory and take all of the contracts for this, I mean, you can say, oh, I
yeah,
didn't.
there's so you mean like the factory of factories here, since it lists automatically, or it maintains like every single factory that exists. So you don't have to like curate a special list of factories that you maintain yourself, like on a front end or whatever, like how, certain exchange front ends had to like blacklist certain tokens. There's just like a there's just one repository that's like the aggregator, the factory of factories, and so you don't run into that issue of having to like decide arbitrarily on your front end which factories people have access to, because you can access all of them from the contract, and there's like a maintained list automatically.
Yep. And also from the factory and the cloned contracts. And
Yeah.
so also like deeper than this. So yeah, I think I mean, maybe it's like not the most like exciting feature. I mean, because the less technical feature, but I think it's like indirectly will solve a lot of issues, especially when like countries are trying to like, oh, you should do this and that, and it will become very, very like more difficult like managing like interfaces maybe in the next years to come, and
Yeah.
so I think a strategy to just like try to having like better standards for interfaces in general, which is maybe should start by a better way to organize like contracts, which is factories like this for this reason, and maybe like some better stacks to like I don't know deploy and have the interface like in a better way, like more resistant. I think it will be something that will be needed into next years to come. I mean, after I think for sure after the merge, something that I hope to see is the more openness to like different um, different operators on the Ethereum network, and so maybe like not just starting to have like your node at home, which is like the best way, imagine in a world when your router is also like an Ethereum node, and so you can just access like uh,
Hmm.
Ethereum without like also you have to have like more diversity into like who push for you, who inject for you the Web3. And so like for example, what happened to Tornado Cash? I mean, there were like Infura and other the few that are the most used to just say, oh, we just don't push, we just don't inject the Web3 into like these domains and this thing, and I think is something which uh, I think this will be like the next wave of like issues in that way. So yeah, sorry,
These are
I'm
big.
going like out from the question.
It's okay. These are big questions, and a lot of things that are on people's minds right now after the last couple of months. So you
Mhm.
guys can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, nice to see you guys. How's the talk going?
Pretty
Good
good.
questions. Good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a couple questions for you if you got time.
Yeah. We are here.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So tell me about, and I don't know if you've talked about this before I came, but how big is your vision for Ethereum's OS, right? Where do you see the protocol in, say, 2 years, say in 5 years, right? Tell us about the grand vision in your head for Ethereum's OS protocol and why you've built all these different components of the protocol and what it all means and what it all is together as one.
Hmm. Yeah. I think is also correlated with the question that David did before in some ways.
Mm,
Um, mm, I mean, this like momentum, uh, also like in terms of first, like in the short term, is um, like a fundamental momentum, because we are like try and I can't say any other information because I don't want to leak like things, but to be ready to just like go out from like the to to go out to just like oh we're just building staying under the hood as much as possible, which is
hmm
something that I always like explain it publicly, and uh, what I see obviously I'm like one of the main guys. I mean, is that was in this project since the beginning. So I think that we are solving like a big issue on Ethereum, which is like the foundation of building things.
Yeah.
And so my vision, like in the next years to come, I mean, in terms of product, is that people will just like use EthereansOS in general, like in the same way they just incorporate a company into the real world. So they have
Right.
all of the tool needed, they have all of the standards, if they want more tool, there is like the factory stuff, and so like the App Store. And the more factory there are, the more is best for like the whole ecosystem, and also like for the people who create them, if they create like a business model, or if they just create it for the public good. And I think like you will just go on EthereansOS to start your business, your project, your launch organization, your community. You're like managing the earnings of your protocol, managing like the human coordination of your protocol, and so it's like the foundation for this. So I think we will likely become like a base point for everything related to start a project, and everything related to code a project, and everything related to okay, I just go there and solve all of the issue, and I should be focused into the my core project.
Yeah.
And so what we are like giving to Ethereum is what like I will just use like the classic like Silicon Valley example. So the Silicon Valley was great actually because you have everything standardized. So you have like exit strategy. Okay, we have the Nasdaq. Okay, so contracts. So there are all of the like standardized contracts.
Yep.
And also like bank account. Okay, so Silicon Valley Bank, and also like and so everything was very, very standard, and this was very great because it's also like create a lot of inflows of capital from VCs, because you can really like be focused into like how the project and the team and everything is going good or bad, and decide to invest or not. So it's not like you have to like read a lot of paper, and Ethereum is very, very like the Silicon Valley without the standardization. So everyone know that. I mean, we are here, okay, and so all of the people that will watch this video, they know like the direction of the world. I mean, not just in terms of entrepreneurship, but also like in terms of finance and human coordination in general will go on Ethereum,
right,
or like
right.
Web3 in general. The problem is that everything is difficult. So you have like every time you just want to use a dApp, you have to trust it. You have to go to a lot of different things. So what's the ownership? Or there is a DAO. So how it's work? Is a legit DAO or is it not a legit DAO? And you go to the forum to read what's happening, to understand if it's like legit or not. And it's very, very difficult to have information. So
yeah,
we want to be the guy who solved this issue. And we want to be the guy who solved like the building issue on Ethereum. So, I mean, another things that I want to say, I think is a great like opportunity to say this, is that the system as it is right now with the contract audit, it's very, very, it's always sounded me like the 2008 for like stocks. And so imagine you are like, I mean, I don't want to say Uniswap, but imagine you are very because these things never happen at the moment, so it's just a futuristic stuff that is very human that will happen.
Hypothetical.
Imagine you are a great project, okay, that everybody loves, and so if you are like an audit firm, you want to work with this project because it will create like a name for you, and these projects that tell you, please let pass these contracts. I know, but and if people try, this is why we fact finance in 2008, okay? And so actually, and so why in the hell we should like do the same thing into like, I don't know if you want to say Ethereum is finance 2.0 or internet 3.0 or everything, but why we should put this way the things. Also like the data from like audited contract and audited contract is like it's not like saying, oh, all audited contract, they don't have exploit, and we can say that 90% of audited contract they don't have exploit because it's totally different. It's like I
Right.
mean, it's more similar to I don't know the exact number, but it's more similar to 50% and 90% at the moment.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that's high.
so something we want to solve with like seeing that we are already like uh, publicly exposed from our application is like social like uh, social auditing. So imagine you have
Hmm.
a tool that everybody can test and create like a concrete like proof that this thing can be exploited or not. And you have this kind of audit, and anyone can just use Ethereum in any way possible, attack it in any way
Right.
possible,
Right.
and audit it. And so I think that yeah, in the next years to come, what I see is to be the foundation to start on building on Ethereum, because we always invest in like long-term tools. And so the
Right.
idea that like tools should be like on-chain and not like um, abstract, and also like curating uh, all of the like experience since when you start a project to when you code a project, and when you like
Right.
test and this kind of thing. So imagine like this kind of audit plus factories become very, very like powerful, I think.
Yeah. It's a really interesting concept, this, this social trust thing, right? And not trustless, of course, but kind of you know, this concept, right, of people rating and things like this, and transparency, seeing when it has been used and what it has been used for, everything about it. So I think it's a really, really powerful concept. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Oh yeah, when you're talking about auditing, are you talking about like auditing contracts? So you audit, it kind of moves like the auditing up to the highest level at least. Like you have to at least audit the model contract that's being cloned a lot, but then uh, if it becomes trusted over time, then it kind of like uh, if lots of things are built on top of it, then you know that the thing that was cloned from the factory, like the ethos organizations, for example,
Hmm.
like when you create a new organization, it's cloned from a factory, but like it doesn't like solve auditing, but it makes it so that you don't have to audit every single different thing like you do if someone creates an ERC20 and they uh, copy the code off of OpenSea, but then they mess with the logic inside the functions and deploy it, and it's not uh, it's an unverified contract, and
Right.
it uses the ERC20 interface, but it has its own logic.
Hmm.
But at least here you can see on chain that this contract was cloned from a factory, and everybody knows that factory is safe.
Right.
Exactly. And also like you can see, I think from the interface of factory, what we are trying to do is to let people like really, really like go deep into like the single factory. So the idea
Yeah.
is that, oh, you should like very, very go there and check everything about this. And so try to have like as much as possible like zero assumption when you use
Right.
it.
Right.
And I think it's just like organizing and cleaning the things. I mean, in terms of, is it like, um, I think most people like saying that like innovation is driven like by some kind of diversity of things, which I mean, oh, I will do like with my RC20, which is a couple of things,
Hmm.
of change, um, which I think is great. But also like it's something that is slowing like the innovation because people have fear, like because people
Right.
fear like, oh, this RC20, oh, there is this new stuff. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is? Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I lose my money. I lost my money. Oh my God.
Needs.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God. I will go to McDonald's. Oh my God. Oh my God. So this is the classic thing that happened. And I mean, we can't have like in my personal opinion is that we can have like mass adoption on Ethereum if we don't solve like the security in terms of like zero assumption, and you just
Right.
go there and
Right.
you are secure. Like,
Yeah. And we also can't have innovation if everybody is always reinventing the wheel and building from the ground up, right?
yeah,
This is why, to me, why factories are such a powerful concept, because they're a known quantity. You can trust that it's secure, and you don't have to spend your energy and your time verifying, and you can add your innovate you can extend and add your innovation. And I mean, this is how human progress has been since, the beginning of societies. And so, we build on top of one another's innovation. And this is what Ethereum's OS represents to me. It's almost like the industrial revolution for Ethereum, right? We're solving the pain points. We are providing a known entity, known contracts that you can be sure are safe, and you can use that as a solid foundation, and you can move forward, and you can provide your innovation to the marketplace, and you can monetize it.
I mean, yeah, even in the real world, that's how it works. Like in some
Right.
mechanical engineering company, there's some like pretty well-known companies that make ball bearings or whatever, and so you can
Yeah.
order your components and use them and make sure that they're we know that they're certified and apply to
Exactly.
standards and things like that. So doing that same
Exactly.
thing, at least,
Exactly.
yeah, providing
They
that.
have a spec, right? There's exactly.
Contracts.
Exactly. You're working off a known quantity. You know that you can have confidence in that, and you can build on top of that, and add to the innovation. So that's what I think is so exciting about the the new way to build, the new paradigm to build that Ethereum's OS represents in the Ethereum space. So yeah.
yeah. I think.
Uh,
Oh, just a second. We have also JPN
yeah,
here.
Hey
JPN.
everyone,
Hey,
Okay.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
it's going good, going good.
We got a Ethereum's OS team party here. All right. Welcome. Yeah, we were just talking about, what Ethereum's OS, represents to the Ethereum ecosystem, and in the ways that we are solving pain points and allowing innovation to move forward and to take place. And I really like the way you summarize it, Ale, because, it's easy to get caught up in, what does this aspect of the protocol do? What does this aspect do? But really, when you take a step back and you look at Ethereum's OS in its totality, in the ecosystem in general, everything that it represents, it is here to allow innovation to flourish in Ethereum, and it represents a better way to build things. So you'll have to go back and watch JPN. It was a cool conversation.
Oh, I will.
Cool question. So that's great. Yeah.
and
Sorry, go ahead, Ale.
no. I was just thinking that um, yeah, something I want to add about this, just a short thing, is that um, I think yeah, um, no, it's okay, it's okay. I will.
Good. Okay. We'll come back to it. All right. I'm playing the role
Yeah, yeah.
of the holder here. Okay. I've got my
Because
holder questions.
you know when you have like a lapsus, that there was something I wanted to say, but I was distracted at some point, and so when I came back, I totally forgot it, and I tried to like.
That was probably me who interjected and made you
No,
forget it. So I'm
Happens to
sorry.
me all the time.
no. It's my
All
fault.
right. All right. I'm putting my holder hat on here. I'm throwing some holder questions your way. Okay. So as we shift our focus to adoption and onboarding users for the protocol, right? So what in your mind, Toshi, are the most important aspects to concentrate on for the
Hmm.
protocol?
Yeah, I mean, so my personal view of this, and this is my personal view, and obviously uh, um, I think that EthereansOS will be like the future of like any dApp out there. So that's my personal view.
Yep.
And what I see for this is that um, even if you already have a DAO and for on some sort, uh, I think at some point, because people will wake up about like what's vote like in a forum and ask the team to do stuff with the multisig is, and also like regulator at this point, and so they will say, we should regulate this. EthereansOS will be there with guilds and all of the tool, and you will just be able to just open the organization and start to be like your sub DAOs and start to attach like your like protocol fees and your community there.
Right.
So it's open to anyone actually in the term. And so so obviously like go into like the project side will be important. I think it will be important also like to be like EthereansOS everywhere.
Yep.
And so in any like analytics and this kind of website and things.
Yeah. Yep.
And also, but obviously like our main target. I mean, in terms of UI UX is the main user, so the actual user that I know, because another thing we never talk is that if you create your farming rather than need to audit this, you have also like to build your interface. If you create your farming on EthereansOS, you already the interface done for your farming. And so, yeah, one direction is create like the best UX UI that like every project will love to have in the community there. And obviously, project will be the game changer. Project and at some point, factory makers will be the game changer. So the more sexy factories there are, the more like people will use it, I think.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
What's the result of your tree about this topic, by the way?
Yeah. Well, as you know, right? I think Ethereans everywhere all day long. That's my main, that's one of my main tasks here, and I've been inundated with this summer, and in fact, I wake up, in the middle of the night, Ethereans everywhere, it's just running through my head all the time.
And I wake at the same time as I say, yeah.
Exactly. Coordinated across the pond coordination. I will say that a lot of the things that we're hitting on are exactly the right mix to produce that goal, Ethereans everywhere. And I think that there's going to be a lot of, pleasant surprise. I mean, people have to really understand. I mean, this was really 2.5 to 3 years of being under the hood and building, right? And now, we are transitioning and shifting phases. And I think, there's going to be some pleasant surprises. So I'm very excited about the work that we're doing and things that, are coming up for us. So but I think we are, attacking exactly the target market that we need to. We are solving pain points. We are providing kind of democratization of Ethereum, with the upcoming interface. People will be able to come in and to put together their protocol and put together their project, without having to reinvent the wheel, without having to go and to do these painful audits that are not guaranteed and that are often just a cash grab and are often found not to be secure afterwards. And so, a lot of what we're building for are solving the pain points of building an Ethereum right now, but it's also, like you mentioned, solving, pain points for the future, right? Such as, decentralization, full, true decentralization, right? And so that, regulator concerns will be addressed, things like that. So, I think that, we are building towards our target market, and what we have built, I think, speaks for itself and will speak for itself once, the awareness campaign begins. So. But
Yeah.
I'll open it
Also,
up to Davie and JPN. I'm interested to see what you guys think too. Go ahead, Toshi. Sorry.
no, go ahead. I just wanted to say like a joke, so not so important.
I have such awkward timing. I'm always interrupting. Sorry.
No, I just want to say for a second, imagine like a regulators who try to like understand at the moment like if it's a DAO security or not. And I totally understand why they're saying, no, no, they are all securities.
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult to like go there and have information and maybe they don't want to spend like most of their time.
Yeah.
So
That's,
just a joke, sorry. I don't want
No,
to
that's
waste
not
your
a
time
joke.
with my crazy stuff.
Yep. So just to restate the question, I guess if Davey or JPN want to weigh in, but what in your mind are important aspects to concentrate on as we shift towards adoption and user onboarding?
John, you got anything?
I mean, one of the big things is, and I think you touched on this, Ali, is going through and getting developers to start building stuff on the platform. When we have a whole, factory full of factories and these contracts that can be cloned really easily and quickly on chain with the security, and we have that, that's going to be a huge draw to people who want to come build on the platform to say, hey, we have all these tools, they're ready to go. And getting that so that we can have an ecosystem of factories that are ready to go, an ecosystem of governance routines that are ready to go, ready to use. That's going to bring people in when they can say, hey, all the tools are there. I don't have to recode anything. I just sort of have to pick a la carte what I want in my DAO or just used in part of another organization, and can get all of that from us. That's going to be when people really want to come and use our products.
Yeah. And I always kind of hear this concern and this sentiment of like, oh, well, we built it and developers aren't building things like this. Like, no, this is not the case. Like, when this is introduced, right, in the way that we're going to introduce it in a proper manner, right, and people understand what the tools are and what's available, right, this is going to, in my opinion, take off like a rocket ship, right? So don't prejudge the work that has been done, because developers aren't aware of this. So we're turning on those levers right now, and kind of at full speed, and those will be very fruitful. So I just want to I want to say, I hear people say this quite frequently, like we built this, but how do we actually get people to build on it? It's like, well, the awareness is not there because the tools are being finished and are done now, and the contracts are there. Once that is turned on, you're gonna see it.
I think you may have said that even before you joined the team.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
I think all you were saying, the more sexy factories there are, then the more people will be using Ethereum's OS. But we already have like some really sexy factories. We have like, you can clone clone a new organization. You can clone a farming setup for it. You can clone items, which are really cool. A really cool token standard. That are kind of the ERC20 plus 1155 together, dynamic on-chain metadata protocol, like all this stuff. And then to bring in developers, it's like, well, you want to create your own factory, then we have to have a good documentation with that explains everything really well, how to use it and how to code. Like if you want to create a contract and you want it to be compliant with the factory standard so that you can clone it from a factory, then you have to know how to do that and stuff. So I'll take all the credit for that since I'm working on the documentation.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you there, actually.
Let me just add one more thing. I've been in the startup game for a while, and IRL as well, in the hardware startup game. And a great product is good product fit and good product timing, right? So it's about fit and timing for the market, right? And 6 months ago, 9 months ago, right, EthereansOS, right, gets lost in the many of the bull things like this, right? The timing wasn't there, right? As we pull back, right, into this bear market and the focus goes back to first principles of Ethereum decentralization, nobody has a stronger narrative and a stronger product fit and product timing than Ethereum's OS to come in and to solve the challenges of the market. So I would encourage, people, who, think that maybe, we've been, I hear it a lot, we've been waiting 3 years, No, it's like, this is just getting turned on, and this is the product fit, and this is the product timing. And there has never been a better timing. And receptiveness to this message is quite incredible into our products. So let me say that.
Yeah. Can I be like a bit not politically correct? Something that like a guy from a team should never say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Uh-oh, I just screwed up.
So we always like been in the idea that this run was like a different run than our product, and so we were like focused like stay like under the hood, because we have like the long term about what Ethereum should be and building on Ethereum should be, and because like in this run it was very, very everything casual, like casual DAOs, or also like DAOs with people that just want like to wash like 250K to build the farming, and so why in the hell they have to take it for free? Because they're not good actor and bad actor, and so I mean this was like the first phase, because like before of DeFi, Ethereum had a lot of ideas, the ICO bubbles, but nothing in concrete, and all of like the concrete things comes together like during this run, like the NFTs run in the gaming industry that just started with the basic, also the government industry. I mean, there was something, but nobody cares before like 2020, 2021.
Right.
And so I remember, and sorry, not my fault, but I remember like what's happened like in the whole direction of every project. That was like Hayden Adams in 2018 say, oh, we are good because we don't have a token, and Hayden Adams in 2020 they say, unveil Uni. And so this is totally the narrative, because I think at some point people just figured out that a cool way to see like use case of tokens, except for like real utilities like stable coins or these kind of things, is like shares of the protocol, with some sort of like powers, incentives, and earning to be part of. And so the narrative totally changed. So I remember in 2018, like having a token where like, oh, they just want to scam. And now having a token is normal. And so this Jeep is like,
sorry. I do joke. My laptop kept shaking.
And so like the narrative changing, the need of the industry is changing, but I think that if we don't have like kind of like a great deal about decentralization on Ethereum, I mean like our governance, for example, respect like a DAO, it's like a multi-sig. I think we are all screwed up anyway, because we figured out that Web3 is meaningless. There's no such a real like deal, because if it's just like, oh, I will use crypto to don't pay taxes, or oh, I will use crypto because I don't want to like, wash trading and this kind of stuff, and there's no like use cases on say like, oh, we are decentralized in something in general, which is not just like earning a yield there and earning a yield there too. I mean, at some point it's just a bubble that will burst, which I think is not. I totally think is not. Right. And so this is why we always have this idea to say, we have to solve the issue like for the long term. And like, for example, when we build the product, it's always been Okay, how should add-on people without any trust as a team build with this and be uh, like follow it for this with as much as possible zero assumption? Because hmm, I how can I say? I think we need this kind of decentralization. We need this kind of protocols. Will just go up with this kind of use cases, based also by anonymity and if we don't have this, I mean, at some point it will just be, a Ponzi over Ponzi, and
Yep.
so we all have to change job in that way because at some point everything will go to zero if there is no real use cases
Right.
into the whole ecosystem. And I think the use cases is not just doing the same thing you do in the real world,
Yeah.
but with crypto. I mean,
Yep.
so
Right. It's a great point.
like
And I
I
think
had a
that I've seen
conversation.
that transition. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just a thing. I like a conversation, which is something that I always thought was funny, in my personal opinion, in terms of human coordination, which was um, if you go to the classic liquid governance, which is a classic, which is the delegator factory, which is already a lot used. I mean, people don't figure it out that we are in the early days of everything, and in every sector, every country, every place is. If you go in the early stage, you have all 90% of smart people, 99% of smart people. Okay, but this is not for the long term because at some point, new people comes, everything become more casual,
Yep.
and you have Bitcoin community. Oh, no, just joking, and you have and so if you have this um, delegator systems, it will be like the real world with political parties, and at the day,
Right.
I mean, we will be all screwed up. And
Right.
so having this power into the protocol based on this idea, I mean, is something that, for example, I think is really, really taking the world as it is right now and put on the chain. And
Yeah.
we want to explore
Yeah.
things that were impossible before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's so interesting and so powerful how we are approaching social consensus on chain and trying to solve these real world problems. It's one of the things that really first attracted me to the project, and just continues to just amaze me even as a team member of the project. So
Yeah, like one thing about are you talking about taking the old world and just putting it on chain and the ability to buy influence, basically, like the more money you have, the more you just pay people to do what you want, in politics and things like that. And it's kind of the same thing in crypto governance. You can buy a ton of tokens, and then you can just win the vote because you bought the most tokens and you can vote the most or whatever. And I mean, yeah, we have our delegations like that. Like right now, is kind of like that because there's only a few delegations, and then there's a few early users of EthereansOS. So some people, they have a lot of EthereansOS, and then you can create your delegation, and you can vote for yourself to get delegation grants and things like that. And so what about the infrastructure of EthereansOS organizations is is uh, is being used to solve that issue of just everything is controlled by whales, and things are just kind of manipulated on the back end, and then off chain, and then and then put on chain at the end. And so it's it's
right.
decentralized, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah, how do you think EthereansOS is approaching that issue?
Yeah, I have to say some not politically correct things to answer this question. So the first is that I think we should I mean, as humans, and for the first time we can do this by programming it, we should find the right deal. Because I think we figured it out that both on Ethereum and both in the real world, our system are not perfect in any way possible. Okay, we have like democratic things which are slow. They can work, but they are also like be very, very easily fucked up. And you have like not democratic things like companies, China. So I don't know if I say publicly China, that they are like a company. Okay, there is like a real like
total centralization.
Yeah, total centralization. People with different like things, and they are more competitive in some ways, but they are also like less competitive in other ways because like and I think for the first time, I mean, to solve this issue, we have like the third person, which the third person is like protocol and economy. I mean, and so you can create. So let me show an example. Obviously, it's just one of the first versions. So I don't want to say, oh, it's the perfect thing. So I want to sell it as the perfect, but I want to sell it like as a part of a wider experiment. Okay. But if you go to our organization, okay, like the EthereansOS organization, I mean, okay, you can be a whale, okay. And something that is changing is that you can be a whale, but you can vote in things that even if you're a whale, you don't have the incentives to act for your own earnings only. And that's the important part. So I think granularity as incentives will be like the most important like things to solve this. Because, for example, why we design like the investment fund, okay? Imagine like the investment fund without the rule that you can choose only from 1% to 5% of the token to sell, and you can choose like 100%. So people will speculate on this. Okay, like imagine like a very, very easy like thing is, I have this token, and I will earn because this token will dump or this token will pump in some way, and I will just use the money of EthereansOS to do my own gain. And so maybe at some point, like having enough like OS or enough power in communication, enough like partnership, because it is also like this problem, which is not only like how much I spent, but how much I'm good in marketing, how much I'm famous, and these kind of things, which also like and so you can earn money from this. But with this like 1 to 5%, people just have like the in our personal opinion, like people just have the incentives to let the investment fund to earn as much money as possible, and having more money for dividends, farming, if you're a whale, actually, because it's like 5K OS, having more money that go to the investment fund to buy, okay, having more money that go to the treasury, having more money for the grants for delegations, and having more money that buy OS and burn. And so you have all of the incentives. There is not you that speculate on the investment fund treasury, but it's the treasury that earn as much money as possible every time, every week you sell. And so I think the incentive will be a very key part. But the only problem is that I mean, this is how we will move into this. But the protocol is open for every kind of use case. I think the classic journey for a startup, it will be, okay, open organization, okay, liquidity strategy, farming, okay, and all of these things. But the journey will be like create a lot of different sub-DAOs step by step, and at some point just go in maintenance mode by closing the root layer. And so you don't have to deal with this, because as in our lore, where the enemy are the Julians, which are like the metaphor of humans, is like which are corrupt the things, is like the same thing, which I think is a problem, because I mean, if you are a project you know that Uniswap team is also only able to just open the fees, and so you build on top of Unity. Okay, if you have like an organization with the risks to broke the protocol in some ways, uh, you will not trust it. Actually, you don't not trust this protocol. And so I think this will be like the journey which I think is will be like the most concrete and also like our. So even us at some point with the Ethereum Stress organization, we will just close the root layer at some point going forward, building factories and other tools by our own.
I have to say the thought and the game theory and the incentives that you have built into the system, that you guys have built into the system, is it continuously blows my mind. There's a lot of game theory, and of course, as we know, right? Show me the incentive, and I'll show you the outcome. Incentives drive outcome, and I think the way that you guys thought about and curated and put the incentives into the project is just amazing. So, hat tip to that. So, I think incentives will win out, and that in my mind is as we turn on these awareness and marketing levers, right? That is what's going to draw user adoption in developers, because the incentives are there to reward innovation. The incentives are there to control human greed. The incentives are there to work and to build fairly and to build securely and to be confident that your project won't be associated with a scam, and you'll be able to drive innovation and use it as a business model. So the incentives are there. So well done. All right, can I put my holder hat back on? Because my last holder question, bag holder. Come on, Davey. I got my invisible holder hat on. Can everybody see it? All right. This plays into kind of Davey's question. You kind of took my question a little bit and Ali's answer, but obviously the value proposition of EthereansOS is massive, right? In my head, I always think of it as an Ethereum inside an Ethereum, right? And OS holders stand to gain a tremendous amount as the protocol and the ecosystem grows. So do you have a vision of the future ways that holders of the token can help with governance in influencing such a large ecosystem? And I'm, of course, already with delegations and the way that you have built the incentives into the system, OS holders are going to stand to influence it a lot. But I know you're always thinking, Ale, and I know that you have a vision, and so I'm just thinking about future ways that you'll provide for OS holders to influence a very large ecosystem when it's built out and adopted.
Yeah. So this is a great question, actually.
Thank you.
Because it's a question I think I never answered it actually, like publicly in any way. So it's very, very new.
I hate to put you on the spot.
So I want to be very, very clear on this. We will never, ever, another team can do it using OS. So, but we as Ethereum Lab will never, ever promise to people oh, you can vote like to decide what is the next things to build. Okay, because I strongly believe, and I think the whole industry should believe, that a token is needed for something that is already there, and you will be a part of the game, a part of the financial game, hoping as much as possible also for non-financial things like development, interface, new research and development.
Yeah.
But for something that is there, you don't need to trust us. You don't need to Um, you don't need to say hope that we will do the things you decide, or you know, some jokes I made on Discord was like, I remember in the early days, like putting some polls there directly on Discord, and I think was fun actually. And so I think that protocols in general, they are at the end of the day like public goods in general, and uh, I think that is so important that that the direction will be that people can vote in something that is there, because for two important reasons. So the first is that it's a real promise. So when the contract are there is a real promise, and it's a real promise that you can actually roll it, okay, and should be independent from us in general. And also, uh, and I will be like not politically correct in this way, but you should go, and if you want, we can go it, even if it's not publicly a bad idea, because we will have all of the shit for all of the project, I think, if you do it. But we can go to Snapshot and see the level of the conversations there.
Yeah.
The level of the conversation is just people that want to rug pull and earn money as much as possible, asking to developer to do these things, okay? In most of the communities. And I think this is humanistic, I mean, in general, because if you're not involved into a thing as a team, or you, I mean, also like in board of directors of companies, I don't think that Andreessen Horowitz entering into a startup, he want to like deciding the vision of I don't know, of MakerDAO. Okay, they just want to make more money. They just want to be part of something greater. They just want to like helping the project growth in their own skills, and so I think that there are different teams. So, for example, the possibility to just do these things differently, so not vote what is there. So the product we have is go there and vote, go there and create like together some financial strategy with the inflation, with the investment fund, with all of the tools that are there. Okay, it's yours. There is no way that us as a team we can change this. So this is not like a promise. This is yours. It's your stuff. You as a holder, this is yours. Okay.
Right.
And I think this should be the direction. Okay. And so we are doing our job.
Yeah.
But you, that you are a holder, you have to do your job. Because these things are made for you. So the earning of the protocol is for you. Okay. And they will stay there until Ethereum exists.
Right.
And that's like real new stuff, because you don't have like some sort of board of directors, some sort of decision making, which are like this. Because you can go on Apple, I don't know. I mean, you need a lot of money, but you can go on Apple on the board and say this thing, but you know that at some point, Apple can just stop work.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this public good, which is there, and you will always be able to click this button and stake to change the inflation, or change the tokens and these kind of things, and all the other functions that are there. so that's, I think, is innovation. And so our personal opinion is that building a lot of new stuff and growing the amount of sub DAOs you will be able to use to vote, and giving to you all the time more things, so more earnings with different tools, more way to govern. But every governance system is not designed to just say, we have a token, we need to like find a way to make it valuable. It's designed to have a right incentive to let it work for the next years to come, even if we die tomorrow or everything. Okay, so that's the main thing. So when we build a product, when we put the sub-DAO for a project, when we design the things, is designed to having the right incentives for this. And so you will have a lot of new stuff, to vote to. And also, and I want to come back to the first question Davie asked me, a real use case of factories will be governance rules and more concrete, difficult, very crazy governance rules in any way possible to test everything. Okay. Which
I was just going to say that you were saying we were talking about Ethereum's OS and the organization and how the rules are and how it works, but we're providing the tools for anyone to build their own organization. And with your own organization, you can create whatever sub-DAOs you want to rule whatever you want and make all of these different types of organizations and experiments and
exactly
structure it to get the
ultimate
best
flexibility. Ultimate flexibility.
Yeah, because for example, our contracts for standard governance rules is just one factory with standard governance rules. So some governance rules that work and they are all out there into the whole ecosystem. But a real research that I want to see, I mean, since the beginning is, okay, now we can quickly create very complex governance rules for every single piece of a decision-making event. And so, I don't know, people can explore very quickly and just testing maybe in just a sub-DAO without need to go into the whole infrastructure, but just testing and go forward as innovation step by step. Like, wow, why we don't find a way to create credibility? Why we can't find a way to just say, oh, the more you vote correctly, the more your token will transform and you have more votes power. Or, I don't know, a lot of possibilities that there are out there. Yeah. And for the first time, you don't need to create your own DAO for your own project with your own like small advancement in this. But you just have the whole platform and you just want to say, oh, let's try this.
And so people don't realize, I mean, this is true innovation. I mean, this is advancement. This is, this very soon, I think this is, the startup world, what we call the BKM, the best known method. And I think this is going to be the best known method in the new normal. It's just, it's incredible. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's those are the questions that I have, and I appreciate you answering them so thoroughly. That was an amazing answer. It inspires me to hear the vision, and I really appreciate this format and being able to step back and to remember what it all is as it comes together, and and how grand the vision really is. So I think it's really important to step back and look at that at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a proposal for you four. An off-chain proposal. I mean, I think we are like creating a great content at the moment, which is like
Me too.
Question, talking, and these kind of things.
Me too.
So I think just to give it more like importance, I think we should. That's my personal idea, is to publish this and the other event next week. To having this like, because it's starting with, okay, let's do some questions, but it's becoming like a very, very like cool conversation that I want to
Right.
make it like as the main thing and not as like a side thing, you know?
Right.
What's your thought?
Yeah, I like this format a lot. I think that it's very conducive when talking about the scope of our project, and absolutely, I hope we publish this in its entirety. I think this has been an amazing conversation, and yeah, I think so. I think so for me. I think we should do this regularly. I think we should do this once a month or once a quarter, or you know what I mean, every 6 weeks. I think it's really good.
Yeah,
we can have guests. We can
think this
have
is a
other
pretty
team members.
conducive to like a Twitter Spaces type format, I don't know. Yeah, maybe in the future we could have like more Twitter Spaces and like record them.
Yeah.
Have the four of us, and like, because it would be cool to have people in, people from other projects, other developers, and things like that come talk to us too.
It's a cool AMA format, and even for off chain, we could answer different questions, things like that. So I just think it's a cool format and a cool thought space to talk about future of Ethereum and some of these thoughts about innovation on Ethereum. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, and also I want to say a thing like totally publicly, is that it's very, very great actually the work that you guys are doing. So the work that Davie is doing since he's here, the work of JP, and also like the work of JPL. I mean, I look at your event, and I love what you're doing, and I love the energy actually that event. And I want to say, oh man, I want to work with the Ethereum Labs. I want to be part of the team. So cool.
Yeah, it was a great event.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very thank you for everything you're doing for this whole project.
Yeah, no, that's great. You've been very welcoming from the very beginning, so it's been great to like hang out and watch the project progress, and then join the team. It's really cool.
Yeah, yep. It's been the highlight of my summer, that's for sure, and my fall. And like I said, I can't wait for the months to come. It's a very, very exciting time. So we have a great team.
Yeah, message to anyone out there. If you get involved and you really like the project, then Ollie will hire you. No, but we'll pass along a lot. I mean, I've been, at least, like specifically for me, what I've been doing is, like talking to Frank, who's one of the programmers, and learning the code base and how it works and everything like that. And so the more I learn, then the more I'll teach other people, and we can, hope that the community will continue to grow. And the more people that understand, the more people will work with us and on the project and build things on it and everything. So looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and also talking about the tools. I mean, like also like what like JPN is doing is so cool, because all of the analytics actually is like another like killer app for like people who want to start like an organization and so on. It's a very, very important piece of this. And also like the documentation too, because I don't know if you remember the first documentation of the FO app.
I do.
We didn't invest too much into communication at the time. We were more focused in building. So sorry if I interrupt you, JPN.
Oh no, the thing I was gonna say is I've really been enjoying working with the Dune stuff, and I'm getting to see sort of the back end of what was built here, and just the sheer amount of stuff and thought that got put into building all of this, and all the different functions and all these different contracts. It's like it's a huge undertaking, and there's so much going on. And yeah, I think one of the things we're working at with on Dune is to try to make sort of a generic dashboard. Hey, you launch an organization on OS, you have analytics for your token day one, right there built in. And it's like that's something we're striving to get to. So being able to not only offer all the great tools OS already has, but to have them with built-in analytics and good documentation from day one, that's going to be something that gives projects that want to launch on OS a huge head start over everything else.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. Well, cool.
So guys, how will we call these events? Like Ethereum's conversations or Ethereum's meetings?
Ethereum's Council?
Ethereum's
Welcome
Council?
to the Ethereum's Council.
Which sounds very, very boring, like it's a glass of wine. Oh, we are
Sorry,
into the
I've been
Ethereum
watching
Council.
a lot of Game of Thrones lately.
Oh yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah. I don't know, conversations with the team or something like that. Yeah, I like conversations. New team members asking all their questions.
I think we can play this format. I mean, for the next event is very, very interesting. Also, like with different team members, just conversate with a bit of the argumented things.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Everybody know that this is recorded before, and so I mean, this will go online some hour before the merge.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't wait. Can't wait for the merge.
Yep.
I saw your Twitter face, by the way. What's your Twitter face? What's your face for the merge? That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So if you don't have any other questions, I think we can like stop the recording. And okay.
Sounds good.